Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. Welcome to another episode of Covertape Chaos Zzapped, where this time I am taking a look at the games and demos that came along with issue 84 of classic Zzapped magazine. Gracing the front cover this time around is a rather gruesome image of Steg the Slug, and this is indeed the headline review of the month. This is joined by reviews of some hot new releases like Space Crusade and Bonanza Brothers, as well as the promise of a free poster of Elvira. Now though, let's jump right in and look at the tape. We have a double bill of mundane job simulators this time around, starting with a game called Mrs. Mop within the pages of the magazine, while on the title screen it actually calls itself Mopper. In this game you take control of a poor overworked cleaning lady for a school who has to get on her hands and knees and scrub every inch of floor to remove the grime and mud that the school children, teachers and janitors have left everywhere. There is a meter on the screen that displays how much water is left in your trusty bucket, and you will need to find a sink to refill it frequently. All of the aforementioned enemies, or ordinary people who are frequenting the school, will be milling about and getting in your way, along with dogs for some reason. To quite literally combat this, you can switch over to the soap mode and fire bars of soap at them to clear them out, but they are constantly respawning, so you will never get rid of them permanently. You also have a limited amount of Gleamco floor polish, which acts like a smart bomb, wiping out any dirt and baddies that happen to be on screen at the same time. A few times these are absolutely essential to progress, as you can't access certain areas of the floor directly. If you actually succeed in cleaning an entire room, you can leave and get started on the next one. I thought Mrs. Mop was a novel idea for a game, but the fiddly controls let it down. Your standard C64 joystick doesn't have enough buttons, so several of them are on the keyboard, which proves rather tricky when things are hectic. It may play better if played entirely on the keyboard, or if you have the ability to remap keys to buttons like on the Steam Deck, that would improve matters as well. The enemies also reappear far too frequently for my liking, and the one that covers the screen in dirt again if you accidentally bump into them can absolutely do one. Your life is displayed as a meter indicating the condition of your back, which ticks down constantly, but especially when you are scrubbing the floor. Should it run out, then your back gives out and you call for the nurse, who gives you two choices: take a week off, which essentially acts like losing a life, or plod on regardless, which gives you half a bar back, but is a game over if it runs out again. The little sequence with the nurse is quite entertaining the first time you see it, but is far too slow, so it becomes a chore to sit through for every single life. As Mrs. Mop was an entirely original game only found on this tape, I don't have any official reviews to take a look at for this one. I think it was a decent enough idea, but the execution could have been better. We follow that up with Trashman from New Generation Software, which is something of a classic. More so on the Spectrum to be honest, but the C64 version plays perfectly well. You take control of the eponymous Trashman during his first day on the job, where he has to go and collect every bin on a given street, walk it back to the garbage truck, empty it, and return it where it came from. He must avoid stepping on anyone's lawn, as doing so loses valuable bonus points, and he runs the risk of a pet dog being set loose on him. If you avoid putting a foot out of place, then the various homeowners will pop out and speak to Trashman, asking him various strange things like could he take a look at their TV or brand new C64 for example. This is your chance to earn a few bonus points, but you need to be quick about it because the garbage truck doesn't wait around for you. If you dilly-dally too long, it will be halfway down the road before you get your act together. Some caution is necessary because there is frequent traffic on the road, and if any of the cars or motorbikes collide with you, then the game is over and you're dead. When carrying a full bin, you move noticeably slower, so you need to be extra careful. As Trashman actually came out before Zzapped was a thing, they never reviewed it, not even a re-released version, which is a shame. As such, there's no score to look at for this one either. For a game that came out in 1984, I think it's quite superb. It has super simple controls which are intuitive to learn, and a simple but effective presentation. It does prove rather tricky initially until you get used to it and start to have a more efficient run, but before too long you will be keeping up with the truck, avoiding all of the lawns and chatting with all the neighbours. Now we come to Black Knight, which is a dreaded text adventure. This one was even more annoying than most of these that I have had to try for these episodes, as it didn't even seem to understand basic commands that every good text adventure should, like examine, and sometimes it doesn't even mention every exit from a screen in the description, which is annoying and led to me getting a bit lost until I tried going in random directions. Even then I couldn't find any items that I could pick up except for a single hammer or obvious puzzles to solve, so I grew frustrated pretty quickly. This is just part 1 of the game unfortunately, which means I will have to suffer through part 2 next episode. We end with a demo of Elvira 2, which I really want to play, but unfortunately this is just a very short animated sequence from the game, with a scrolling message telling you what is in the full release, and how much it costs, which was a whopping $24.99. A small fortune for a C64 game, but it does come on 6 floppy disks. It's a very ambitious game for the hardware, and no doubt the Amiga version is better, but I do want to check it out on the C64 one day. This isn't the first time Flare Software has teased us with a scrolling demo for an Elvira game on one of these tapes, and I'm just trying to remember whether the other one was for the first Elvira or whether it was for this exact same game on a Commodore format power pack. My memory fails me, but I suspect I may have already looked at this during my original run of Covertape Chaos episodes. That concludes another episode, and Trashman is the star by a large margin. I wanted to like Mrs. Mop, but playing it proves to be something of a hassle after a while. Despite Trashman coming out in 1984, it still plays well today and has a lot of charm. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, then please consider leaving a like, subscribing and sharing on social media. I'll be back in a fortnight with the next one, so hopefully you can join me then. In the meantime, take care.